Welcome to Vacation Station, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Clang, clang, clang goes the trolley. I can't help it. We have to do that. Everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's new Adventures in Asheville show. We air this every first Tuesday with our friends Steve and Karen Wilson. We call them Mr. and Mrs. Wild of Asheville. They own and run the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast in the Montford Historic District of Asheville-North-Carolina. It's a beautiful Victorian home. It's beautiful, and definitely you want to go and stay there. So check out lion-rose.com. Every time we go up there to see them, we go on a cool adventure. And the last time we were there, about a month, I don't know. It wasn't that long ago.
Yep.
We went on some cool hiking adventures. Yeah. We went out into Pisgah National Forest, then we went out to Chimney Rock, and everyone check that feature. It's a front story feature in our recent Parks and Travel magazine. So check that out at nationalparktraveling.com. And one of the coolest things we've done in Asheville is go on this cool ghost tour. It's on a trolley. It's called the Gray-Line-Trolley. So go to graylineasheville.com to check this out. They do all kinds of historic tours on a trolley, but this one is their ghost tour. It's haunted history and murder mystery tour, and it's led by Uncle Ted. And this is super cool. If you want to really get some cool, colorful history of Asheville, which I know Asheville's known for beer and for the Biltmore, for Pisgah National Forest, Smoky Mountains, Blue Ridge Parkway, you name it. This city has got quite a past. So we're very excited to welcome Uncle Ted on the show, who is also a fabulous musician. So we're going to have him back in the future. So welcome, Uncle Ted. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having us on.
Hey, excited. Steve and Karen, how are the two little puppies? How's Ozzy and how's Oreo? This is important.
They are good.
There it is.
Yeah, it's important stuff. They're good. They're happy campers. They got to beg for some bacon this morning and meet and greet everybody.
So it wasn't sausage day. It was sausage.
No, not today.
Steve, what is on
Sunday.
tap? What's on tap at the inn? Because Steve's a brewer, and when you check in, you get a brew, which is good because you might see ghosts later.
Right now, we always got the house beer on tap, which is the wheat beer. It's kind of like a Blue Moon, but better. And we've still got some Pilsner on tap, and we'll be brewing up a Dunkelweizen soon enough for Oktoberfest.
A Dunkelweizen?
A Dunkelweizen?
Yep, we have to play up the Oktoberfest.
It sounds like a ghost.
I know.
That's the kind of spirits I really like. Yeah.
This is it.
It's right in the middle. Not too dark, not too light.
We want the Dirty Godiva back. I think the Dirty Godiva, Uncle Ted, don't you think the Dirty Godiva sounds like a ghost? Like a naughty ghost? That could be part of the tour.
It could be.
She doesn't wear a lot of clothes.
So let's talk about Asheville. Uncle Ted, this is something when we went on the trolley tour. It was so cool. It was sunset, and you got to go around like Asheville, the downtown district, and beyond, and to the Montford Historic District. And by the way, there's a really cool cemetery behind the inn that you really want to go check out. So when you
that's the Riverside Cemetery.
The Riverside Cemetery. It is. Thomas Wolfe is buried there, and his family. O. Henry is buried there. A lot of people are resting there, I should say. But this tour really gave us an insight of Asheville. It seems like it's quite a colorful, rambunctious town. Like I mean, you could be writing books on Asheville for years and never get through its history, right? With all of what's happened there.
I think so. One of the things that attracts people to our ghost tour is that Asheville sits in a bowl, and we are actually on top of the crosshairs of a very pure crystal deposit. I mean, the crystal up here is almost 93% pure. It's under a huge amount of pressure, and it gives off a lot of electromagnetic waves that we think are instrumental in attracting a lot of paranormal activity. And so it's been a sacred place for many, many years, starting with the Cherokee. But if you look, every denomination of Christianity has some kind of retreat up here, including out in Fletcher, you've got Luther Ridge for the Lutherans, you've got Canoga Conference Center for the Episcopalians, the largest Methodist Conference Center in the United States out at Lake Junaluska. You got Montreat, you got Ridgecrest for the Baptists, and we do have a basilica here. So Asheville is home to Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, and the Wiccans are here. So, I mean, if something's troubling your soul, you're in the right place here.
Yeah, I like this.
And there's a lot of ghosts too.
There's a lot, and there's that one street you took us down, which was just like, it's like Church Avenue or something. It's like one church after
Church
the other.
Street. And that is one of the most haunted streets in the state of North Carolina. And a quick little background here of how it got that way.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, what happens, the Spanish flu comes through here in 1918, and Asheville and Buncombe County in the first 9 months lose nearly 15% of their total population.
Wow.
The city says nobody else is going to be buried inside the city limits. We've got one municipal cemetery outside the city, and that is Riverside. And then they go down on Church Street and tell Central United Methodist Church, First Presbyterian Church, and Trinity Episcopal, we're going to have to move your graveyards. Now, those people are already dead and in the ground. I don't know what good that's going to do, but Asheville has a reputation of always going with the lowest bid. And so, in reality, all the headstones got moved, but not necessarily all the bodies. And so, when you go down there, every one of those churches has a granite block outside dedicated to the people left behind in the street. And you know what they call those people other than dead? They call them foundation members.
Foundation members. I love this. I love this.
It is one of the most haunted streets in the state, and there are several stories that are attributable to that particular area of Asheville.
How can you do that? That's just so wrong on so many levels.
Well, what comes in
well, it may very well be, but we're in 1918, and they're doing what they think is right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's an epidemic, or a pandemic or whatever you want to call it, when those diseases spread, they're like wildfire, and, you got to do what you got to do, But I was going to ask Uncle Ted, Thomas Wolfe is a big deal in regards to Asheville. And, and I know that the city, is a hub of the arts in the way back when, and still continues to be today. I mean, you've got the story of Zelda Fitzgerald, there's just so many people, but Thomas Wolfe and O. Henry, the very first night we stayed at the Lion and the Rose, we met Stephen Caron. The next morning, ran out to the cemetery, and I was like, no way. And I had to look up all these authors, and wow, this is big literary stories. But Thomas Wolfe, I mean, talking about, dead bodies, wasn't his dad an undertaker?
Well, his dad was actually a monument builder, and he built a lot of the headstones that are in Riverside Cemetery. And if you go through Riverside, you will see a lot of the compass and square, because masonry was huge in those days, primarily because of all the building going on. And of course, you've got George Vanderbilt bringing in, there's 7 Masonic lodges that started on the Biltmore estate. They were operative masons, meaning that those lodges were schools for the best the building trades had to offer. But Thomas Wolfe's father was a monument builder, and Thomas Wolfe, even in his book Look Homeward Angel, now I will say this, the reason he was not so well received in Asheville is that he took all of the gossip that he picked up growing up in his mother's boarding house and used that to write his books. And we're delighted about it till we read the books and find out that all he did was change the name of Asheville to Altamont and the name of the boarding house from Old Kentucky Home to Dixieland. And he tells everything he knows about everybody he knows, and not in a flattering manner. And don't ask me if my family's in that book, okay?
No, I see.
Now,
Uncle
Cool.
Ted.
He changes everybody's names, but he puts everybody's real address in there.
Oh,
I have been haunted all my life by this book because I know the stories are true.
oh,
In the
And you-
story, in the book, he tells the story of his brother Ben dying in that boarding house of the Spanish flu.
oh,
And then later on, encountering Ben's presence in front of his father's monument shop. Now, as I say, all the stories in the book are true. I have no reason to doubt that that one's not true.
You can go to that house now. I know we wanted to go, but we ran out of time, but we got to at least see it on the trolley tour. And this is the coolest thing about taking the tour is you can, I would say do this as soon as you get to Asheville. It should be the first thing. Wouldn't you say, Stephen, Karen,
Yes.
for your guests
Yeah.
coming in?
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
gives
that's
you,
one of the first things we did.
yeah, it gives you
Yeah.
this overview of the city, the layout. And then you're going to go, I want to go here. I want to go there. Even looking at the restaurants when you drive by and the breweries, because there's a lot of breweries.
Yep.
But this is a really good backstory to Asheville, and from there explore out. So, when we went, we didn't get to go into the home while we were there, but we got to drive by. And you're telling me there's all kinds of stories like fires and ghosts and what's going on in the Thomas Wolfe house. That's like
Well, the thing is, and a lot of people do this because it gives them a great background. We're running starting at 9:30 in the morning from the visitor center every 30 minutes, our historical tour. And we do a combination deal where you can do the historical tour on. It will give you half price admission to the Thomas Wolfe house. And then in the combination, you can get the ghost tour that night. And of course, Ben died in that house in 1998. Just before the Bell Share Festival kicked off for that year, somebody set the west wing of the house on fire. And the house actually lost about 40% of its structure and 60% of the artifacts in there. And Steve Hill was the curator at that point. And he's the perfect guy to do it because he loved to read Thomas Wolfe. We didn't always enjoy it because he's very wordy. You've got to plow through his material. But Steve raised the money to restore the house. It was arson. They did determine that. But they never found out who did it.
Wow. Wow. So there's arson. So all these stories you'll and all the ghost stories, I mean, it's amazing. There's, a nun that walks around, and there's, the pink lady. So this tour is really cool. And I want to just go over to Steve and Karen because apparently you guys went walking on the Boogeyman Trail the other day.
The Boogerman Trail?
Oh, the Boogerman. Was it the Boogerman or the
Booger
Boogeyman?
or boogie?
Boogerman.
The booger? And there's a
Yeah.
lot
Booger.
of mushrooms on the Booger Trail. The
Booger Trail.
Seriously.
And slimy mushrooms on the booger trail.
Oh my gosh.
All righty then.
So you've got that, but then Karen, you were saying that there's a couple of trails out there that are like spooky to go and
Yeah, so
hike on.
that's what we were saying. We were thinking as far as on the haunted theme, what was a creepy hike? We like Browning Knob, where there's a 1983 or 84 Cessna plane wreck there. And it's creepy vibe when you get there.
Wow. And what about and where is that? Is that part of Pisgah National Forest?
That's the Parkway.
So let's see.
Or a Water Rock Knob.
Yeah. So it's a little ways down the Parkway.
Okay. And that's still open in the fall, like October, everyone can still drive on the Parkway, right?
Oh, yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be
definitely.
beautiful.
That's
fall
a good place
colors.
for fall.
Oh, okay.
Good place
Yeah,
for fall. Yeah,
that's
definitely.
what I was gonna say. Like it where we are in Rougemont right now, the leaves are already turning and falling. I mean, it's fall today. It's fall. It's freaking cool, man. Like really cool.
Cool.
It's
That's
cold.
very cool. Good.
So what happens in your area? When do the leaves start to turn in Asheville area and the Parkway?
They should start turning soon in the higher elevations. Here, we usually see it late October in Asheville itself.
Okay, but then you
Yeah,
can
I
still
think that
drive
area,
around.
that area we took you guys for the butterflies probably like the first week of October last year. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
First couple
Yeah.
of weeks in Graveyard
So-
Field.
Exactly.
Okay, so everyone start getting out there. It's the time. It's the time to do it.
Mhm.
So
It
yeah,
is.
that's going to be neat. Uncle Ted, if you're taking like the history tour during the day, to be able to see Asheville in fall colors, the city. I haven't seen it like that before. Is that what it looks like in the fall?
Well, we sit kind of down in a bowl. You come up the mountain and then you drop into the bowl. We're surrounded by mountains, and so a lot of times on the tour, when we point out certain points, you can see the colors in the distance, and every year is different. Every year is different. We woke up this morning, we had a high of 84 degrees yesterday, and this morning I get up at my house and it's 48 degrees. So,
Exactly.
I think, was it yesterday fall came in, or is this the first day of fall?
I think yesterday was officially. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it came in with a rush, so.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Wow.
Doing around 3 in the
Wow.
afternoon.
It wakes up and goes, I'm late. Hurry
I'm
up.
late. Oh, here I come. Here I come. Well, but this is, I think fall and we have been there. I remember we went through the Arboretum in fall, which is really pretty. And they do like that beautiful quilt. It's a living quilt. The quilt garden. And they change it out every season. It's I know everyone goes to the Biltmore. That's a big deal too. I mean, if you go to Asheville, you've got to go to the Biltmore, which we haven't done, but I can say you're supposed to go because we know everybody goes and but we haven't done it yet.
There's always something else to do there.
I
know
know.
what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool.
Exactly. It's so there's a lot to do when you go out there, but going back to haunted things, what about Halloween? So I'm going to assume that Uncle Ted, there's bus tours all, Halloween's going to be a busy weekend for you guys.
Well, the whole month of October is busy during the daytime and at night. The ghost tour runs Monday through Saturday, and it leaves at 7:00 from Pax Tavern, and they'll leave probably at 7. So, if you get there at 7:02, you're still going to be standing on the sidewalk at 7:03. So, and they typically sell out. What we do is we do one tour a night, unless that one sells out, and we get at least 6 people on the second tour, and then we'll do another one at 8:30. And so it's a 75-minute tour. And usually, after about the 10th of October, we're doing 2 a night because they do sell out. It's age appropriate for adults and children, probably children starting at around age 6 or 7. Younger than that, they may be a little too young to do it in some things because it is a haunted history murder mystery. It is a murder that did take place at the Battery Park Hotel that has still remained on the, well, they said they solved it, but that's questionable.
I remember going by. So when okay, so there's some creepy things on that tour, but it's manageable.
Yes,
but there's some creepy things that make you really go, ooh, you know what I mean? So but you don't do them on Sundays.
And we have gotten pictures. We tell people when you get on here, if you're going to take pictures, we point out places to take some pictures. Please take about 5 or 6 pictures in a row because the camera will always see more than the human eye.
That's really true.
The tour y'all were on, we did show some pictures of some things that have been taken recently on the tour.
Oh, it's crazy, man.
Creepy stuff.
Yeah, there is some creepy, and some of the buildings that you go by, like you just go, something had to happen there. You just have that vibe, you know what I mean? But I wanted to ask, you don't do these on Sunday with all the different religions and spiritual beliefs represented in Asheville, and you think about being, atop all this crystal. If you took a ghost tour on a Sunday, do you think lightning would strike the trolley? Like, seriously, I wonder what would happen.
There's certain things I don't go out and entice.
Yeah, so Sunday's got to be a little spooky on that level. But and Halloween, Stephen, Karen, are you guys dressing up again?
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
Every
we plan on
year, it's huge. Yes, and we actually have guests more and more knowing how big Halloween is in Montfort that we're getting people actually coming for that.
Mm,
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, do you give out candy and everything when people come trick or treating? People still still do it? That's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Cool.
Mm.
That is very cool.
Well, we'll see it.
Yeah.
Last year we had to turn out the light at like 600. So we're expecting more like what we had the years before, like 1,000, 1,200 kids.
Wow.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
Montfort is so
Wow.
popular. You got kids coming from all different neighborhoods. Maybe their neighborhood doesn't
Exactly.
celebrate Halloween the way Montfort does. And plus,
I know.
you got
Oh, yeah.
Riverside Cemetery. And they're doing those
Oh.
springtime tours up there. So,
Oh, really?
Oh.
I mean, what's better on Halloween than to be
Yep.
in a cemetery?
Yeah.
True.
That's
Mhm.
cool. You know what? And there's things that happen in cemeteries. I mean, and you've got, well, now it's going to be cooler weather, but just about every 3 to 4 cemeteries we go to, we find snakes next to the resting places. I don't know if they like
that was
the
in,
heat of the tomb.
That was, what was
Wyatt
it?
Earp's,
Wyatt Earp's
brothers-
grave, a snake
his
went
brother.
across it.
I
Yeah.
got a rattlesnake hanging out on his brother's grave.
Yeah, that was kind of
oh,
like,
wow.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, they do. And we've interviewed genealogists who say be careful in graveyards because there's snakes. And I think they like the peacefulness because they are like a park. You know, Nancy and I
Mhm.
travel full time, everyone on our Love Your Parks tour, but we've decided that cemeteries are parks too. They're manicured, they're taking care. Well, you know what? That's the whole thing too, is
Mhm.
support your local cemeteries because we have a problem across this country. I know it sounds weird, but keeping them funded so that they are maintained. And some cemeteries don't have, well, they're still finding who was buried where. And it sounds like Asheville has
Yeah.
that problem downtown. I'm just gonna say. So-
well, sometimes beings in the spiritual world tend to wander.
Yeah, they do.
What?
Especially the
So
nun.
they may
The-
not stay put.
Mm.
okay, but now what about the architect that got walled into his own church? I mean,
That's
Come on.
funny.
how
That's
did
funny.
that happen?
Well, now, whoa. Let's back that up. You're talking about Raphael Guastavino, and he is in the basilica, but that was part of the agreement. See, the Catholic Church burned down, and Raphael Guastavino, for those folks who are tuned in and may not know him, is the famous Spanish Basque architect. He's known as the man with 1,000 buildings. His work is all over the world. Many of his commissions came directly from the Vatican and Rome.
Mm.
He comes here to work with his friend Richard Sharp Smith. Now, when he gets here, he finds Richard Sharp Smith helping get Vanderbilt into the house by Christmas. And that's a great turn of events for George Vanderbilt because he gets the #1 tile maker in the world at that time. Guastavino was a very devout Catholic. So when the Catholic Church burns down, he offers his services. He comes out of retirement and says, look, I'll build this back for you, but I got some requirements. It's got to be my design. I'm going to select everybody that works on this project is going to be hired by me. And nobody's going to aggravate me about when it's going to be done. Now, for you ladies that are tuned in listening to this, think about how much faster your projects are going to get done by your husband or significant other if you quit aggravating them about when it's going to be done. That's not going to change a thing in this world, but I put it on there just like it was written. Okay, so Guastavino, when he makes his agreement, the other thing he wants is for he and his wife and daughter to be interred inside the church. That's why we say he put body and soul inside the basilica, because he is interred in there. Now, he dies before the Spanish flu hits. After the Spanish flu, the city council said nobody else is going to be buried inside of public buildings. So his wife and daughter are not there, which is the reason that he...
Dude.
When you see him, you will see a man walking around the church inspecting it, because he didn't get to finish it. His son finished it, and he's looking at his son's work. And he's very happy with his son until he gets to the back of the church and realizes his final resting place is by himself without his wife and his daughter. And so, but you can go in there and see him. I mean, he's right there. You go to the back and to the left of the pulpit, there's a big iron door. Pull on it real hard. If you need help, he'll probably push from the inside, but he's in there. And that's the architect inside of his own church. And
Seriously.
people see him most of the time around Christmas, walking the perimeter of the church. And you'll see him dressed in a nice suit, wearing a dark fedora and an overcoat. And like I say, at the front of the church, he's real happy because he's pleased with his son's work. His son completed the basilica the way he wanted it completed. But as he goes toward the back, he gets a little bit more melancholy.
Whoa. So do you think he comes out and hangs out with the naughty nun that had the
I don't
affair?
know, because they're on two different streets. And that nun was not a Catholic nun. She was, if you'll remember, the Episcopal Church grew out of the Catholic Anglican Church. And the reason it was formed was so that Protestants and Catholics could marry each other with the blessing of the church. And so early on, certain sects, and I'm saying sects of the Episcopal Church had nuns. And so she was an Episcopal nun. Guastavino was a Catholic. I don't know if they hang around each other. He was really in love with his wife, and that's why he's upset she's not with him. So I don't know if they cross over. I'm sure they probably commune at different times, you know.
I know you just have to keep going on the tour, and you might see one of them. You know, that's the thing.
You never know. We have had pictures of the nun. I haven't seen Guastavino.
You know what? The nun is creeped. The nun picture was creeped me out, and it bugged me all night long.
Oh, definitely.
I'm not kidding. That nun picture. Dude, she's dead, but she's not. Like, she's a dead alive, you know.
She lives on.
If you ever went to Catholic school, there are some nuns that can put the fear of God in you.
No kidding.
I did. I went to, I was going to say a nunnery. I did go to a Catholic, after I got expelled from kindergarten, no joke. I did. I got expelled, and I got put into a Catholic school. And all I can tell you is my knuckles have never been the same. They are big, and I can open jars because of it, because after all the cold water ruler beatings on your knuckles they did, listen, you do not mess with a nun. You do not. They
sorry, bobtail bull, you do not.
No, you do not.
You do not.
Lasts forever.
You just don't do it. I think they should run the military. If
gosh,
they should actually take over the country, and everyone will behave. You know, they'll put every
Can
politician
you imagine
in line.
if they put Putin in a Catholic school?
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Now that's funny. That's really funny.
He's straightening himself out.
Oh no, he would run away. He's such a coward.
With his shirt off on his little horse, you know, and it'll be a little unicorn as well. It'll be a unicorn.
Oh my God.
Wow. See, don't start.
No.
This is all over.
There's a lot of this stuff that's going to be edited out.
No. That's not how it happens here on Big Blend Radio. But Uncle Ted, Nancy wanted to bring up, I know we're going to close with a song called Dark Side of Love, which goes really well with the story of the nun. And to get the full story of the nun, you must go on the tour. We can't tell all the stories. I mean, there are all kinds of lurking spirits all throughout Asheville, and there's some really cool stories that are mystical as well. So you just really need to go on this tour. I'm serious. And you need to go to Asheville. And once you go, you'll be like Nancy and I. We keep circling back, and we're going to be back in December. We can't wait. We love it there.
Well, listen, come on the Christmas tour when you come in December.
There we go.
Oh, cool.
And we have about 3 tours that we do, and the Christmas tour is not a light tour. It takes in the different traditions of our holiday season, and we do have a guitarist on there, so we sing songs. I mean, it really does take you back, and we tie together the 5 major cultures that built Asheville. The Cherokee,
nice. I like
Celtic
that.
culture, lumping together Scottish and Irish, the Black culture, the Jewish culture, and of course the Greek culture. So
wow.
if you're here in December, please come ride our Christmas
Oh,
tour.
my
We would love
gosh.
to have you.
Oh,
That
we
Yeah,
want
we
to
got to
do
do
that.
that. We'll take you guys.
And
Yeah,
and
that's
Uncle
Love
Ted,
that.
we love that there's going to be music on there too. I mean, that's and you
Mhm.
playing. Tell everybody about your band, because just so that everybody knows. So when your next album comes out, so people know, what to expect, and so that
Well,
we
I
can
hope we
have you
can come back
on.
on here and promote
Oh,
it.
you better.
Mhm.
You better.
Well, I
Yeah.
play bass for the Whitewater Bluegrass Company, and we have produced 2 Grammy winners. Mark Pruitt was playing banjo with us when he won his Grammy with Ricky Skaggs for the album
Cool.
Bluegrass Rules.
That's
And then
awesome.
Steve Sutton, just before he passed, was with us, and he was playing. He won his Grammy for the work he did with Christy Cox in Nashville. So, but we, as a matter of fact, this particular weekend, I don't know when this will air, but we're coming up Saturday going to Western Carolina University in Cullowhee for the Mountain Heritage Festival, and we'll be on the main stage 11 until 12:30, and then we're doing some workshops, some dance workshops, fiddle workshops, and Bill Biley, our guitar player, is going to teach a workshop on guitar. Not all these hot licks, but how do you play rhythm and back up somebody? Because nobody wants to stay home and do that. They all want to play hot licks, but
No, that's really
it's
true.
a fun,
and
it's a fun time.
important.
The
That's
band's
very
been
cool.
working for 40 years.
I love this. I love this. And speaking of music too, you're doing some porch concerts, right? Karen?
What's that? I missed what you said.
Porch concert.
Oh yeah,
Porch
Porch Fest. Porch
Okay.
Fest was rescheduled. Normally that's September, second Saturday in September, but we had rain, so it rained out,
Yeah, it
unfortunately.
rained out.
It's rescheduled for October 8th.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. So I'm glad this is airing before that. So that's good. That's
Yep.
great. Just in time to get there, everybody. So Porch Fest, and that happens at your B&B, and then is that throughout Montford District?
Yes, several other
Oh.
houses, so it goes from like noon until about 7, 8 in the evening, and ours happens to be at 6, so prime time.
Oh. And by
That's
the
really
way,
fun.
part of this ghost tour goes through the Montfort district to the place where Zelda Fitzgerald had to say bye-bye to the world. And it's a very cool, no, it's not, I mean, she died and that sucks, but it's I'm just going to say it's a crazy story. Am I allowed to say that, Uncle Ted? That's not nice, is it?
The fact that it took place in a mental institution, yes, it would be a crazy story.
It's a crazy story, and it's another one of arson. I mean, what's going on? There seems to be a lot of fire that happened in Asheville. So, definitely so many stories that you're going to come back on next year to do this, just so we can tell some of the other ones. But we want people to get out there. But before you go, Uncle Ted, please just give us a little snippet about because we're going to play Dark Side of Love by the Craven Band out of South Florida. And this is the cover song to their album, The Dark Side of Love, and you can go to cravensongs.com. But Nancy brought this up because is there a little boy is it the Craven Bridge? Little
Yes.
boy?
Well, the
He
Craven
walks-
Bridge story is not one of my particular stories. I know the story on the peripheral of it, but supposedly off the Craven Bridge, a young boy was swimming and with some of his friends, and they never recovered the body. They never saw him again. But people on Craven Bridge have reported seeing a young boy down there swimming, and they hear laughter and that kind of thing. So that ghost is having a great time.
Well, that's
That's
better.
nice.
That's at least a happy ghost story.
Okay, that's a happy ghost story, but I'm going to say that the Dark Side of Love goes to the nun, the scary nun who, she was the naughty, scary, naughty nun.
Was
of
she
Church
dressed in
Street
black?
in Asheville, dressed in black? Yes, everyone. Yeah, now there's so many songs that could go with this. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. It's been delightful talking about all these crazy
Thanks
stories.
for having us on.
Oh, it's
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank you.
Everyone, again, for the trolley tours, go to Gray-Line-Asheville.com, and that's Gray, because I just want to make sure my spelling's correct here. And then for the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, go to big-rose.com. Of course, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. We are here talking about adventures in Asheville every first Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So join us then. Thank you all. And here it is, The Dark Side of Love, dedicated to the naughty nun in black.
Thanks, guys.